Great, welcome back. So this is part of a long series, Real Estate Masterclass with Engineer Viglo, and I've taught you the introduction. The next thing I'll be teaching would be marketing, especially digital marketing, which is the one I do. The deal is this: people reach out so much. I want to work with you. I want to travel with you, and I want to be able to sell some of your properties. Great, but my car can only carry 4 people. It usually carries 2 people, and I can only host 1 person because my travels are very expensive. And sometimes people do have like a week job and they want to work with me on weekends. But I travel anytime there is a call. So I thought I could put this together so that if someone needs to learn about real estate and understand my thoughts, patterns, and the like, you can watch this and then you can actually implement them by yourself. Or if you want to understand the Ghanaian real estate market, either you are in Ghana or you're interested in investing into Ghana, you can watch this series. So that's why I'm doing this. Share with people who want to learn, people who are growing, people who like to invest, and the like. Thank you very much for watching up to this point. Today, we want to treat something very spectacular, I find it. And I have my thoughts, but I wanted to keep it open-minded as possible. So we are going to treat it anyway. Misconceptions people have about real estate. Now, misconceptions are thought patterns that have been accepted. Sometimes they become rules that are absolutely wrong. The worst part of misconceptions is that even I can have a misconception. So when we treat this, I'm going to agree with everything that is not right, and I'm going to give you the other side of the coin to look at, and the decision is yours. The deal is, is it working for you? If it's working for you, why not? If it's not working for you, then you can have a look at mine. You get it? So let's go. The first one is this: real estate is for the rich. Let me write that one in red. There goes my marker. So number one misconception is real estate is for the rich. Sometimes we say rich and famous. Yes, it is true. Real estate is for the rich. If you are not rich, you have no business here. Think about it. You can't exactly say that, but it's true. The reason why we have accepted this is because it's usually rich people that do real estate. Now, there are a lot of other things that rich people do. People who are not rich, that we call poor people, who are not technically poor because of the lack of money, but because of the acceptance of the fact and endorsing of themselves. That as for me, I am poor. As for my family, we don't do big things. We just lay back and wait for our time. Or they wait, and as we say in Ghana, they fold their hands into their thighs and wait for a rich man to come and save them. That is the problem. If you study a rich man, I say this all the time. I tell people that if you want to copy something from the rich, copy how they earn, not how they spend. And even that, I've grown to realize that rich people don't spend as much as we do. Rich people bundle a lot of their cost. Okay, rich people will pay a lot of things in advance so that they can get the discount. Okay, rich people are strategic in their spending. Okay, that sometimes we don't do. Okay, and rich people have properties. Okay, rich people have bigger investment properties than homes, but poor people have bigger homes than investment properties. Rich people have more assets than liabilities. And I was telling you in the previous class that it can be the same thing. It can be the same car, but it could be an asset to someone and it can be a liability to someone. Okay, if you have a Yaris and you use to drive boat, it's an asset. But if you have a Yaris and because of that, girls ask you to send them 500 cedis every day, your Yaris has become a liability. That's not my business. Anyway, so it's not true. When you are rich, you will do real estate because you have so much money packed in the banks that is laid back and is earning you minimum interest, okay, per month. And if you use it into real estate, that money is protected against inflation. Real estate actually protects your money against inflation. So it will be appreciating faster than inflation. And then you can actually be earning cash flow as well. That's why people do real estate. Now, it's not reserved for rich people. Properties in Osu are reserved for rich people because we don't have that kind of money. But if you are not rich and famous, you can still own a property. The deal is to own something that is optimized for your income range. If you have 100,000 cedis, you own a 50,000 property that can pay itself back within a reasonable time. Okay, not to have 100,000 and go and take a mortgage for a $500,000 project and crash your cash flow, or to have 100,000 and go and try so hard to buy a plot for 3,000 cedis and then build a big apartment on it that you are not able to finish and that you are not able to sell it off, and then it becomes a ghost building. Okay, either ways, very ambitious and very wise, you can lose your money. You can make big mistakes in real estate. The deal is to do something that is very, very optimized for your money, that will ease up your cash flow, that will now give you more money, that you can now scale your way into the more profitable real estate businesses. That's what you have to do. Not to lay back that it's reserved for the rich, or think you have become so smart you want to cheat the system. You can never cheat the system. You can only learn, understand the system, and ride the wave. Remember that and don't forget. Okay. 2. Buying land means automatic ownership. This one is very serious. Okay. Buying land means auto ownership. Okay. Now this, I don't know whether this is true or not. It's a misconception that people think if you buy land, you own it automatically. And even worse, it's a misconception as well that people think when it's a leasehold, then you don't own it. If you've read the descriptions that we've given, the laws of Ghana are structured in a way that there are different forms of land ownership, which we may be teaching in the future about the land law, okay, and administration. That states that the land can be owned by different parties. It can be owned by the state, it can be owned by the stools, it can be owned by families, and then it can be owned by individuals, okay? Now, state land can only be sold under leasehold up to a maximum of 50 or 99 years renewable. Stool lands, the same principle, 50 or 99-year renewable lease. Family lands used to be able to be sold as freehold, but now it's usually sold as lease, 50 or 99 years. The reason being this, these 3 people were not the ones who bought the land. They shouldn't have the right to sell it outrightly, because when they get greedy, something that was bought by my father, because I'm hungry, I just sell it off. So you realize that per different cultures in Ghana, when you go to Ashanti, when you go to the village, they tell that, oh, the land, we don't sell it. We just lease it to you. You do whatever you want to do with it for some time, and then it comes back to us. That's the norm in Ghana. But the other norm is that before anybody started owning land, who used to own the land? That's the arguments I saw in the comments. Yes, the land was given to us by God. It used to be grabbed by law, by war. Okay, so you come by war or by conversations and allegiance and the like. Okay, so you come and then survival of the fittest, you grab a land and then it becomes yours. But long ago, this very long time ago, people started buying land, and when you buy it, it becomes yours. Okay, because the documentation process and those things were not very different. Once you buy it, it's like a freehold. Okay, so that was what was happening. But the law kept transforming because of sometimes migration. I see people argue a lot that we shouldn't let foreigners come and buy our land. And I'm like, dude, when we go to the US, when we go to other places, we want to buy people's land. So why not? You want foreign investment. How will I invest in your country if I can't buy the land? You get it? The land is the first issue of investment and blessings and wealth creation. So anybody who wants security will want to own the land, especially if they can afford it. So me, I don't have a problem with foreigners buying land. It just needs to be very well defined. Terms and conditions apply. 50-year lease, renewable, non-renewable, use it for this and the like. And the law is doing a wonderful job on that. If it needs a review, it gets reviewed. Okay. Now let's look at the third one. The last one is private land. Private land is freehold. I bought my own land. It's mine forever. My children can come and adopt it. And then that's how it becomes family land. Once it goes beyond third generation, you realize that you have a lot of kids and they're like, okay, and I want to sell it. I can sell it to you outright. I'm not interested in that place. I have so many lands scattered all over the place. I won't have the time and chance to come and be looking at the land. You get it? So that's why private lands are there. The law now states that if I have a freehold, I can convey my freehold interest to another person. Then it becomes that person's own. That's what the law says. Now, when you buy land, there is a process of buying land which you can define. Usually, you do search, you confirm that I am the owner, you buy from me. I do a lease agreement with you or an indenture with you that says that I have sold my land to you on these terms, okay? Then you now are the owner of the land. Now you need to go and register your interest in the land. Now, what happens is that the reason why they ask for registered lands is this. You have to register it so that it is available to a lot of people. Registered land or titled land, okay? So that people can now confirm that you are the owner of the land. But the challenge is this. When we are buying land from families that are not even rich, they don't have the capacity and ability to register vast land. 3,000 acres, 5,000 acres. So that one might not be registered. But when you buy yours now, you register your interest. The deal is very tedious to do the registration process, or at least per my experience, because sometimes we like to argue that it's not too tedious, it's just 2,000, 3,000 cities. But if it's becoming vast, the survey needs to be authenticated and you have to be sure that it's right in the land, which is a tedious process. And then the registration becomes very expensive. Okay, so that is there to do. So some people fail to do it. But once it's becoming vast, once it's becoming an interest, once there is investment going on, once you want to trade it and the like, it's good to register it, to certify. Now, the deal is this. Once you don't register the land, the government doesn't recognize you as the owner. But between you and the buyer, you know, you have a conversation. Traditionally, when you buy a land from someone, they have to do the social registration sort of a thing. They have a little bit of a deba. They call all the stakeholders and they tell them that this land, which used to belong to this person, has been sold to this person. And the land now belongs to him. Henceforth, any issues pertaining to that land should be directed to that person. That's the act of confirming social ownership, okay? That's the act of doing public conveyance to the person. So you need to get public endorsement on your ownership. But sometimes if it's just a plot or two that you have bought from a big developer, people don't really bother because it's tedious and your developer has title, okay? So the deal is sometimes if you don't want to go through this deal, you buy from a developer with title and your developer will fight his title because he has more to lose than you. You get it? But if you buy from someone without a title, then it's good to register it to confirm your ownership now, okay? Which is even a dicey issue in places like the Volta region because the owner has not registered it. The buyer doesn't have money to register it. And we are good because the land is not too valuable yet. The challenge is when it is becoming more valuable, then the sense and interest in litigation begins to come up because once it costs less to litigate than to buy, litigation will be on the rise. But if it costs more to litigate than the price, people cannot litigate. Is that clear? Let's go to number 3. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. If you have any other misconceptions that I know people do, ask me. And if you think otherwise, let me know, okay? Building with local materials. And third one, building, okay, with local materials, okay, means inferior. This is one of the national crises that we have as Ghanaians. So it's a two-way coin. The biggest problem that caused this is that Ghana, our standardization is not the best. So we begin to make products that are cheap because we like to pay less. So once we are paying less, the quality of the product keeps going down. So what that has caused is that the local one has become cheap of lower quality. Then we now begin to lean towards Turkey and Germany, who has higher standards. So their quality is higher. But the problem with this is that it doesn't mean that anything made in Ghana is cheap. Now, because of that, people are making products in Ghana that are quality, that are not cheap. Then we begin to think, oh, the imported one is cheaper. So it's difficult to sell because I know made in Ghana tiles and kitchenwares that are more quality. But because the quality increase, the price increase, people will now prefer imported ones that are cheaper because, especially China, they have economics of scale. Okay, and the Chinese can make anything for you. You ask him, do you know Jesus? He said, no. But if you give me a sample, I can make you Jesus. So they can make anything for any price. But we need to standardize and be deliberate about promoting local economy. That's the second issue. Local economy. If it's made in Ghana, sometimes it's handcrafted, sometimes it's a low scale. We have to buy it for it to be promoted. Once we don't patronize it, it's going to cost them more to make. Okay, that's the other issue. Now, the deal is this. It's not true. There can be cheap local materials, but there can also be very, very high quality local materials. From my personal experience, the made in Ghana doors are the best. Hardwood doors, very heavy, compact, they last very long. The imported ones, oh, they look flashy and nice, but usually, they don't turn out to be very good. So I can talk about made in Ghana doors. As for concrete, it's always made in Ghana, okay? Aluminium products, that one is about specifications. If you can go for the right specification, you can get very good made in Ghana ones. Okay, paint. There's the thing about paint. It needs to be tropicalized. I've seen this. There used to be bicycles made in China that they say African champion, made for Africans. So those days we like to buy home use because the home use one is made for European market. So when it comes, you hope that the hardware is good. Okay. So paint needs to be tropicalized because Africa has fungi issue, water infection issues, and sunlight. Okay, so there is exterior paint that has its properties to resist sunlight, to resist fungi and those, and there is interior paint, and then there are things like waterproof and the like that you need to put into paint and concrete works depending on the area where you are building. Okay, so if you don't ensure on those things, then you might think it's the local one that is inferior, but you might be the one misusing one meant for something for another. You get it? So be mindful about that. I don't know why the thing is red, gold, green. So let me do red, gold, green again. Because this is an issue of danger. Or the ones that I'm more passionate about are red, okay? So for construction, doesn't need professionals, okay? It's true. Any idiot can build. Okay. This is also a very big national crisis. And usually I just tell people, every profession will try to defend its job security. So doctors will tell you, don't do self-medication. Drivers will tell you, don't drive yourself if you are very busy. You get it? Everybody will try to protect his profession, which is okay. So as a real estate professional, I'm also protecting my profession. Now, after watching this video, if you become a real estate professional, you understand my plea. You will see that you would have evolved in thoughts and you will now begin to understand some things. Now, this is the thing about professionals. Let me give you like just 3 advantages of hiring a professional. Professionals understand the why. Techs know the how. So sometimes techs, when they do something somewhere and it worked, they just lift it there and do it everywhere they go. So when the why is evolving, they don't change. You understand? That's one. The professionals can save you time and optimize your work. Once you are saving time and optimize your work, you will save money. You understand? And then professionals can also pick quality. Now, the other one is that professional has a pedigree and the standard to uphold to. Okay, as a civil engineer, I don't want a building that I build to fail. But as a mason, he doesn't care. Okay, they'll tell you, Enyeshwi. You get it? So those kind of things are there. And then professionals have their key roles that they play. So the deal is this: in school, we used to say that, they say, if you do a job that one person can do the whole job, then the job is not big enough. Okay, if the job is big enough, I've had like someone who really wanted to build a really big project, and they said they wanted just someone who can read plans. I'm like, there's not something like someone who can read plans. There are civil engineers who read plans, or construction foremen who read plans. There's not just somebody who can read plans. How sure are you that the person is doing the right job? Do you understand? So those kind of stuff are there. When the pedigree of the job is becoming bigger and bigger, simple mistakes can cause big failure experience. Simple mistakes can cause big failure experience. So you don't want to compromise. If it's a small job, chamber and hall and those things, you can let your uncle come with some masons and do their thing. In the end, you are not losing too much. But once the pedigree of the job is going up, and that's another thing I tell people. Someone once called me, I tell you that job is not big. Get some masons in your area to do it. It's like, why I don't do that? I say, the job cannot absorb my cost. I know I'm expensive. You understand? Then I also got another job that was so big. I was like, dude, this job is bigger than me. You need a bigger contractor who has the financial muscle and experience. You get it? As much as I bluff, I cannot build a stadium. I've not gotten there. I'm telling you, if you call me to come and build a stadium, I won't mind you. I'll tell you, go for a bigger contractor. I don't have that capacity. I can absorb the shock and loss in that industry. I hope you understand me. I can work for a company that is building a stadium so that my boss will absorb the cost, but I cannot take that job all by myself. So there are pedigrees in this, okay? There are losses and control systems that you need to look into and factor. Otherwise, if you've not seen it before, this is another thing professionals that do. When a mason works for so long, he becomes like an expert. An expert has so much time on the job. He has seen a lot of things before. So he will tell that, oh, this one, usually when you do it, it doesn't work. When you do it, it doesn't work well. But that's the problem in Africa. Instead of working for 30 years, you must have seen this before. It has been compressed into books that people study in 4 years and they become a professional. So they tell that, oh, this one doesn't usually end well. This one doesn't. It's from that kind of experience that has been compressed into books. So when you go and get a young mason, sometimes even a young foreman, he doesn't know this stuff. So the same mistakes that have cost people their homes, that have cost people their comfort, that have caused people cracks, that have caused people water leakages, that have caused people scent. If you've had a smelling bathroom before, you will understand this problem. And they can't even tell the reason. Sometimes I go, it's very obvious. I see it. I just fix it myself and walk away. But if you are not a professional, how would you know? You get it? So those kind of stuff. And when you begin to have the problem, you understand how much money you lost by saving the cost. Because there is a joke I crack. I tell people that if you ask me to do the job, I'll come with the same mason to do the job. They say, so how come they need me? Because you need me on the job, I'll save you money and those stuff. So how much more do I charge? I say I charge 10% more than the mason. They say, why? I say, because the 10% is my transportation, my expertise, knowing where to hit. You understand? Then you begin to wonder, why won't you just take the mason? It's good. Just take the mason. And then, especially if it's not a big job, fine. But if the job is bigger, then I hope he knows where to hit. Am I becoming mean? I'm sorry. But I'm becoming passionate about this because it's a big crisis, okay? The last one is this. Property value, okay, doesn't appreciate outside Accra. Okay. If you've listened to me very well, I'm one of the advocates for investing in Accra. It's true. Now, if you also listen really well, you realize that the reason why I advocate for investing in Accra is because of the payback, ROI. You earn money, okay? But this is one mystery about appreciation of the value. And this is the truth. This will link back to the first part. If you want to start your real estate journey, especially if you don't have too much money, you're just thinking about buying plots. A plot outside of Accra that is very well located. I'll be teaching that in one of the classes, but let me just show you. When you are buying a plot, look at potential for traffic. If you've watched the other videos, I said that places where there is high traffic density, high population density, real estate value is high. The reason is this: human beings are there. They need place to sleep, they need place to bath, they need place to party, they need place to buy stuff, they need place for all those stuff. That's what forges value. So if you want to buy a plot that you want to gain appreciation, look out for places where there's a potential for people coming there in huge numbers. So I will show you some of these stuffs. If you can get a place where a university is being built, property appreciation there is faster. Okay, if you get a place where an airport is being built, property appreciating is faster. All the infrastructures, all the big commercial investments that are mentioned in my first class. If you've not watched it, go back and watch it. Airports, universities, seaports, okay, big farm investments, okay, big markets, malls, those kind of infrastructure investments, okay, theaters, okay, big government infrastructures, tourisms, big hotels, okay, because sometimes even the big hotels, the workers will need place to stay, and the like activities will be ongoing there. They will have seminars and stuff, and some of the people don't want to stay in the hotel. When there is a chance for attraction, there is a high chance of traffic coming up. When there is a road network, major road linking major cities, linking major countries, those roads. So Ghana, the most profitable road in Ghana is the N1 from Takrady to Aflao. If you have an investment along that road, you are blessed. Now, this is it. In Accra, let me draw this graph. Where do I draw this graph? I'll just clean the center of this thing. Okay. This is how property appreciation graph is. It's like this. Okay. So this is time against value. Okay. I think I'll teach this in other classes. This is how properties appreciate. So it's increasing very, very small. Then here is where the surge is. Okay. Now, the surge can be triggered by the investments I'm talking about, things that draw traffic. Okay. Now, Accra, all the surge has happened. The universities have been built. The airports have been built. So Accra is peaking. It's having like a plateau. This, depending on the kind of economics and understanding of graphs you did, is slowing down. The gradient of the curve is coming down. So it's not appreciating very fast. People have come to grab the land and all those things already. Okay. Then places like in the wilderness where people who have heard this go and buy plots, some were very inaccessible, are also here. There's also not too much chance for them yet. Okay. So these places are also appreciating very useful. Then let me give you examples of places like this. Example of places like this are all the other regional capitals. Okay, it will appreciate. Then the towns close to Accra. Okay, towns close to Accra. So now Accra itself, they appreciate faster than Accra. Just the appreciating. So that's why some people are there, because very soon the dual carriage will come and then you can easily go to Accra. Okay, then towns along the N1. Okay, N1. That is why road is an important. Once you see that dual carriages are coming and stuff like that, you have to look at it. Okay, so towns along the main roads, towns very accessible. Then when they discover a mineral, so Takwa and the like, okay, and ports and those things, or when there is a big agri investment, something coming. So be looking out for this. This is what people look out for when you want to buy a property. That one you just buy the land, 1 acre, and keep tapping your feet. Okay, then you appreciate. Okay, think about it. 5 of them. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Have you learned something new? Did I go too fast? Was I rushing? Was I too excited? Yeah, I wish I could just crack jokes and they're like, bam. This is real. This is a real issue. Remember it and keep it holy. Look out for it when you are making your real estate decisions so that you can get the best of the investments you make. Otherwise, we'll all be in school, but there will be first class students and there will be upper pass students, people who never even completed. And we complete and we say education is a scam. Now you know more hard. Thank you. See you in the next lesson. I'll be teaching something also about famous mistakes or mistakes that we make a lot as Ghanaians. That's going to be the next class. Hop in soon.